What is up, everyone? This is Soul with another video, and I'm just kind of ripping this one in the morning. I actually don't have a weekly plan for tomorrow because it would be mostly covering, hey, how's the patch going? Hey, here's all these problems, and they're all legitimate, and there's there's a lot of healthy discussion and debate as to, hey, the state of the patch and all the different issues that we've been dealing with. But I want to zero in on the Transmog side of things because it's been an ongoing thing. There's some, and there's a quick story behind it. So it started off as us being introduced into Transmog, and we got excited about all the changes and all these things that were possible. Then when we got to testing, it turns out that the functionality is, a bit more robust than we thought it would be. However, it was the gold cost of things that was really spoiling the excitement over what would be possible. Since then, the prices had gone down. This was during testing still. So they were cut in, I think they were cut by like 30 something, 40 or something percent or so. And then it launched as, with those prices. And then of course there was going to be a lot more backlash. Like I think all of us who are like testing and giving commentary knew that like, okay, this stuff is great. What we're seeing, the functionality and everything, but it's going to continue being this cost or this increased cost. That's going to be a real bummer, especially for new players or new characters who are, they're just getting started. They're low level. They don't have a lot of gold, and they're presented with an opportunity to swap out their transmog. But as it turns out, it's going to cost like 4 digits of gold, which they probably don't have, especially if you're a brand new player to the game who might have been introduced to things like the trading post and have been unlocking appearances regularly as they've been leveling up. Now, since then, Blizzard had said that they're going to cut the cost in half again, approximately. This is stated in a blue post just yesterday, that they're going to put it in real soon, but it looks like it's not quite in yet. For a full set, we're looking at 1,700 gold. Now, while it's good that they're going to cut the cost even more, I don't think we're done yet. Now, there are folks out there, and we should be listening to some of these folks too. There are folks that have been campaigning that, the cost of Transmog should just be free. It should be zero across the board for everyone. Blizzard, figure it out, have gold sinks, have gold exit the market some other way. At least in my opinion, I think that's a bit too uncompromising. Like, we started the system with Transmog. They started off with these costs. We've been having it ever since, Cataclysm or so? So we've been living with this sort of system for a very, very long time. And gold sinks exist for a reason, but that's not really what I want to talk about. I kind of want to skip over that stuff. I'm sure it's going to take place in the comments too, but I want to skip over that stuff and get to a suggestion. And it's mostly based on the fact that now, as I said earlier, Transmog costs are fixed regardless of your level. Now, real quick, there's a reason why it's fixed because of your level, because it would be a weird behavior if, the meta, the Transmog meta was, okay, you make a new character, and then when, and as soon as you can, do all your Transmog stuff, do all your ensembles and outfits and whatnot early, because the costs are going to be low. Do it before you level up, because then the costs are going to be high. And I think that would be kind of weird and awkward, and it wouldn't really help anyone, in my opinion. Now, what I'm thinking about are basically Transmog tokens. A token that you can either, I don't know how it's going to really work, but this is just really high level stuff. So just kind of roll with me here, okay? The Transmog token will apply either to the entire purchase or the entire transaction here to zero it out, or it can be applied to an individual piece, and then the cost of that slot, if you wanted to change something out, that would be free. I don't know. But some way to give players or individual characters some sort of credit that zeroes out a portion or all of the cost of a particular Transmog ensemble kind of thing. I had other ideas too, hey, you know what? Every time I make a new outfit, I should be able to have the first setup of that outfit free, which is cool, and then it goes away, and then there's nothing else to kind of look forward to or be excited about or whatever. So the idea of Transmog tokens is that it's going to be something that you're given primarily from leveling, or at least you're introduced to it from leveling. So every time you hit some sort of level milestone, maybe it can be attached to these achievements, I don't know, but you'll get a token, and that token will apply to, changing your appearance. So I'm kind of thinking of this real time. I'm going to go to, hey, you know what, let's just do like the entire purchase or the entire outfit change. That's going to be zeroed out with a token. Never mind the individual slot, okay? So as you level up, you get a number of these tokens as you go. So that to me addresses like what I think is like the biggest pain points. The biggest pain point being new characters or new players to the game and fresh characters. They don't have that opportunity. They have to like get gold from like their warband or whatever, and that feels kind of cumbersome. I think during the leveling process, if they have that opportunity to change their transmog or whatnot, if they want to, every time they, you know, every couple of levels, because there's, you know, then that's fine. I think that'd be cool. But then at max level, you know, what's going to happen? You know, is it going to stop here with these level milestones? And I don't think it should. I think there should be additional ways to earn or to just get these tokens. So that way, again, it kind of blunts some of like some, you know, just initial shock of like, okay, I want to like set up a bunch of appearances and like, oh man, this is going to like cost a whole lot because I'm doing like this big wardrobe change. I'm changing like 3 or 4 outfits and it's going to cost like 5-6 grand or something like that. And that can be like kind of intimidating for folks. So the thought is, I don't know, you know, we can throw all sorts of ideas at the wall. Like, I'm thinking, hey, maybe we can have like every month, like a charge of, or, you know, a token will just appear somehow, some way, you know, kind of like the creation catalyst, because that is, you know, very much a, yeah, in some ways, it's a transmog related thing. It starts off as tier, right? But it becomes eventually a transmog unlocking vehicle for your main and for your alts. So maybe it can just come to us, or it can be something that we loosely like have to pick up, as if, hey, we go to the trading post person every month, and then on top of like the initial tender we get one of those transmog tokens. And this is something that applies like on a per character basis. You know, it's not going to be warbound tradable. It'd be kind of weird again if we were to have like, you know, 50-60 characters and we're constantly like grabbing the tokens and pulling it back into our main or something like that. So I do believe in restrictions. Sorry, it's gonna feel like a turnoff. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was like some sort of upper limit or a cap, just like with a catalyst. You know, so maybe, again, throwing out numbers, maybe there can be a cap of 10 of these tokens, so that over the course of time, however long that is, you cap out at these 10 tokens, and then when it's really time to like, oh, I want to do a big thing, then, you know, you can do your big thing, but it'll at least be blunted. You know, not stopped, but at least blunted by these tokens that help to mitigate some of the cost. Now, for folks like me, who regularly change their stuff on the fly, it's like, oh, I want to try this thing out. You know, this seems kind of fun. I do believe in the cost, you know, of upkeep. You know, Transmog is not, hey, I have these collections and I should be able to swap them out at will. Transmog, at least, you know, in my headspace, is this NPC service. It's a magical thing that happens where I take appearances that I've picked up or whatever, and they magically get applied to my, you know, real appearance, like whatever it is that I have right now. This is hideous, but this is like some intentional set that I've made up. So that's kind of the lines of what I'm thinking with transmog tokens. I think it's a good way to help address like some of that upfront cost or just kind of mitigate it. Again, I do believe that there ought to be like, you know, some sort of cost for like the daily, you know, like people who are regularly swapping out their appearances. Now, for that, I think people are going to kind of like figure stuff out. Like I've tried giving like some small tips when I did that little transmog guide on how you can swap out like small things. You can swap out like piecemeal things if you wanted to just do like modifications or something like that. So like another small idea, you know, a little bit of a takeaway. If you have a certain outfit, have a certain outfit that is just meant to be like, okay, here's me replacing like 1 or 2 things on this certain outfit. So you have like I don't know, you apply it, you apply to like one of these things, and then you just change like 1 or 2 pieces that you might want to change on your actual outfit. And then that's kind of like your try on thing, you know, your kind of demo. You can try like, okay, let me try this modification here. And that way you're only swapping out, or you're only paying for like 1 or 2 slots, as opposed to, ooh, let me take my default and let me keep manipulating this, because that's going to, you know, balloon the cost. And you're actually changing your otherwise permanent outfit, and that'd be kind of weird. So anyway, Big takeaway though is the whole Transmog token idea. I think that it helps out a lot, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.